Alright, so this is my most recent game. As you can see by the elo change, I won this game very nicely. My opponent was 1931 and has an image of, I believe, a rooster drinking wine, maybe? Anyway, so let's get into it. My opponent plays d4 and I go knight f6, looking for a Nimzo Indian, which is one of my favorite openings, and I actually get one. So that's already nice, like right off the bat. My opponent plays knight f3, which is the Kasparov variation. The move here is c5. This is all theory, and my opponent plays bishop f4, which actually already brings me out of theory. Now, here in the game, I spent some time because I thought that this was still my theory, and I thought the move was d5, which happens a lot in these types of positions. And I'm right if my opponent plays e3 after d5. If d5 e3, then this is entering theory. But my opponent doesn't have to do that, right? So I play d5. The best move here, by the way, is cd, if anyone was wondering. cd, and then knight takes, and then, I mean, I get some stuff. I get just castles, I get knight here, I get d5, I get some pressure. But I didn't play that. I played d5, which is a move. My opponent takes on f5. I mean on c5. And here I thought, okay, this is a bad move. I thought this was a bad move because I thought this wasn't in my prep, right? I thought that the move here was e3, and then I'd get into a pretty simple game, but he takes on c5. And so now I think for some time, and I play the move knight e4 after another like 40 seconds of thought, with the idea of just giving him this tripled isolated pawn here, and then I might be able to make something work there. My opponent goes here, and now I'm calculating even more stuff. I'm calculating this queen a5 thing, but I didn't think that was very good because after, let's just say, queen a5, my opponent would go maybe bishop back, but no, not bishop back. Maybe knight back, I guess. And then probably takes, and then this move. No, not that move. Takes, and he might take here. And then I thought this position wasn't very good. Yeah, I was correct, so I'm glad that my calculation is right there. Anyway, instead of doing that, I just took, and I took on c5. And he has this bad pawn structure that I want to exploit. He takes here, and I take with the pawn, the idea being to open up my bishop along this side. And I thought that even though we both have an isolated pawn, I thought mine was much better than his, because normally an isolated c-pawn is a little bit worse than an isolated queen's pawn, because isolated queen's pawn opens up this bishop, and isolated c-pawn can be targeted by the rook here in many, many lines. So he goes e3, opening up his bishop. I castle, and bishop d3, knight f6, castles, and I'm already thinking of some ways to punish him here. Oh my gosh, I'm getting punished by my computer. Oh no. This always happens. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I don't know why this keeps happening. This computer isn't actually that bad, all things considered. It's pretty decent. I don't know why it always starts doing this. But anyway, let's get back to the game. I played bishop g4, which is a mistake. Better move here probably would be just rook e1 or maybe h6. The reason why I wanted to play bishop g4 is because after knight f6, knight c6, I realized that he might have like a Greek gift sacrifice here with maybe some like bishop h7. It doesn't work just yet, but I thought that maybe. So I might have seen a little bit of a ghost, but so I played bishop g4, and the idea is just, of course, that after this check, I can just take, and I'm doing fine. And so I thought, okay, I can go for this. So bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, and bishop back to e2, unpinning himself there. You know what, I'm sorry, but I don't want to wait anymore, so we're just gonna suffer with the computer's incessant noise the entire time. Hopefully it goes away soon. Let's just keep going with the game. Anyway, rook c8, another inaccuracy. The idea is just simply to develop my rook on the semi-open file, and I can bring my other rook this way. I can play h6. I can just I can do okay, but the reason why this is bad is because of the move c4. In my opinion, the computer thinks it's bad for another reason. I'm gonna turn on some lines so I can actually see why it's bad. Rook c2. I don't understand that ever. Rook b1 makes a little bit of sense. I don't know. The computer's crazy. I'm turning the lines back off. Anyway, I thought this was bad because of c5. c4, I mean. And the reason why is because, of course, I can't push. If I could, that'd be great. But, of course, this move and this, I am just down a pawn here, and that'd be bad. So I have to take, and now there's no more weaknesses for either of us. Rook takes, and bishop back to e7. I could go bishop b6 here, or yeah, bishop b6, but I thought this was a little bit worse than bishop e7. I thought my bishop was better on this diagonal instead of the one with the one with the king on it. So here, queen b4, and I'm already seeing that there's this forking idea here. Maybe in the future, not just right now, but maybe I could play a6 in there. So I go bishop f6. Just developing my bishop, keeping this diagonal clean because I don't want him to put a knight or a bishop here, and I think this is a pretty decent way to stop that. My opponent goes rook d1, queen b6, of course, and g4, bishop g6, and bishop d6, which I thought was this idea. So it's a pretty decent idea. Rook d8 was the move that I settled on. Of course, he can do other things. He can go for some I don't even know, actually. It's kind of hard to find a move for white here. Maybe he can go for this. No, that's dumb. I don't know. Maybe this move. No. Whatever. Anyway, bishop d6. I honestly, I want to see what the computer wants to see. I wouldn't do this normally. Computer wants g5. Yeah, okay. That's, no one's going to find that. So bishop d6 and rook d8. Can I click? And bishop c5 is a big blunder, which wins me the game after this move. And the reason why this wins is because after something like rook e1, I get this fork, and I win the game, which is just very, very nice. I didn't see this because I didn't have that idea, really. I thought, okay, so my opponent is going to go for some, like, interesting ideas, right? My opponent's going to go for, like, this was not my thought process. I don't know what I'm even saying anymore. I didn't really see the idea of, like, queen out attacking something else to play this move, because that wasn't really at the top of my head right now. Of course, I still went for this because I wanted to save my pawn on a7, but I went for it in a worse way. Now I'm still threatening this b5, but I didn't really think I was, because let's say I play something random and b5. I thought queen a6 attacks my rook and threatens checkmate, right? So I can't do that, but of course I can, because after rook d8 attacking the bishop, which can't be defended, he goes something like this. I go knight. No, I can just take the rook here, and I win the game. After even let's say something better. Let's say he goes rook f4, then I can go knight b8, and I win the game. So that's very nice. That's very nice that works out. But I didn't see that. And after all this, I play a6, just trying to safeguard my pawn on a7. And now I was like, hey, maybe I'm threatening b5 now. But still no, actually, because of this a6 thing. But it actually works despite my calculations. So bishop d4 is an idea that actually stops my plan. Bishop takes, knight takes, and bishop e4 check. And I thought this was pretty useful. I can go to d5. I'm defending my knight. And I can now make a left here with maybe h6, g6 if I want. My opponent goes king there, which again actually loses to this fork, I believe. Yeah, this fork wins the game because I have something. I hope something. Maybe rook d8. No, not there. Rook e8. Rook e8 is the idea. Rook e8. With this move, I can take the rook, and if rook takes, of course, bishop take. No. Queen d1, threatening like some checkmate and some like big attack over here. It's pretty complicated, pretty tactical in this position. Anyway, I missed that, and I instead go h6, which just seeks to make left for my king, so there's no back rank mate. Takes, queen b3, and I have this very clever idea. I really am proud of this idea, actually, with queen a1. The idea is very simple. I want to go to this e5 square in many lines, and I just want to win the game, right? My opponent goes here, and queen e5 might work right now. I have to admit, queen e5 might work, but after queen f7, king h8, he at least has this queen f5, and I'm just down a pawn, so I guess it didn't work. Either way, he goes here, and I play not the best move. The best move was rook c7, defending my pawn while being a little bit more active with my rook. I play rook f8 because I thought rook c7 might not be best because I like my rook on the back rank here. Anyway, he goes h4, which of course stops this queen e5 move. For example, if he played this, queen e5 wins the game because of this pin, and you can't really move out of it. Like if you go here, this check, and everything else is illegal. If you go for this move, of course, this wins the rook. So my opponent, of course, saw that and is not an idiot, so he plays h4, so then he can move his king to h3. Anyway, I go queen e5 anyway, king h3, and I go bishop d5, which hits the queen, hits the pawn behind the queen. My opponent promptly blunders the pawn. And this is just kind of sad, like a sad ending to the game. It's not over. I take, and he goes rook f5, and now I'm doing quite well after queen c7. And I'm up a pawn, but it's worse than that. I have these two connected passed pawns. He's a 3-on-4, I mean a 4-on-3, which is like decent, but it's not going to break through anytime soon. I have these two passed pawns, which are just going to walk up the board hand in hand and are just going to win me the game. This is resignable territory for white, actually, but I would play on for a little bit. My opponent makes it clear that it's resignable territory after the move g5, which of course just blunders the rook here to a skewer. It's kind of a shame to see like a 1931 do this, but it's all fair in love and war. h6, g6, because I don't want to just take without. I don't want to take and just be up in exchange. Like for example, if I took, I'm not entirely winning here because I'm just up in exchange. It's not over. But this way, it's clearly over. My opponent goes here. I take with check, king g2, and I play f6, guarding against the checkmate threat on g7. Bishop there, king h7, queen b4, attacking my rook. I move my rook, bishop there, and I have the move bishop d7, which is very nice because the queen actually can't get into any of these squares because the rook is guarding it. So that's very nice. Queen there, I take, and I get this fork of the king and the queen, and my opponent, I would resign here. My opponent plays on for a little bit, but this is just completely winning a game. I'm up a rook, and so I just push my pawn and cut off the king, and my opponent simply resigns. So let's reiterate the game real quick because I do not have I don't have a very long video right now, so I'd like it to be longer. It's a Nimzo Indian, which my theory goes awry with d5 instead of cd. We get an interesting position where my opponent gets this isolated pawn, but I also have an isolated pawn. We get an interesting position where my opponent actually has like a slight advantage, but I'm doing quite fine, and he finds this c4 move, which is pretty bad for me because all his weaknesses are gone from the position. I'm able to consolidate nicely, and my opponent misses a chance with the move g5, which is impossible to see, but it's completely equal. And then my opponent blunders due to a tactic that I miss, but I'm still winning. And I miss the tactic again. I miss the tactic again, and I'm doing fine. I play this move queen a1, queen e5 is the idea, of course, and he goes rook e4. I defend a little bit passively, and then my opponent hangs a pawn, and then hangs a rook, and then I'm able to consolidate, trade queens, and make a new queen, and my opponent resigns. So, I hope you enjoyed. This was a little bit shorter, I guess. Probably, I don't even know. But hopefully you found this instructive, entertaining, all the above. Good evening and good night.